Hi, everyone. Karen Roby and Tiernan Ray here for ZDNet. We're talking today about a company doing quantum computing, and they're doing things a little differently. Tiernan, the woman at the helm here, tell us a little bit more about her. And it just sounds like they're doing some really neat things.
You know, Karen, everyone loves quantum computing, but it's generally a pain to put together because it's still an exotic technology. We found an amazing company up in Montreal coming out of the world of AI, artificial intelligence, run by some very interesting folks here. The chief executive is a woman named Aurélie Elouis, who has a background of 16 years in the French Navy. She's responsible for jet fighter craft technology, but she's an entrepreneur at heart. She's done a couple startups already, and this is her latest venture. It's called InfinityQ. And the fascinating thing is they do quantum computing at room temperature. You don't need a refrigerator full of trapped ions or other exotic particles. And the premise of the company is kind of fascinating. Everyone likes quantum because quantum brings what I like to call the element of the cocktail party. So if you've ever planned a dinner party, you can put out little cards and you say, don't seat those two together. They fight all the time. But you think you've got it all figured out when actually what you would really like is to have a little bit of the element of the cocktail party, which is the spontaneity and the element of chance and things you wouldn't have thought of. You see a couple of people at the end of the evening, they're over there talking, and you think, I never would have thought those two would have gotten along. So I learned something. Everyone likes quantum because quantum brings in the cocktail party element. It lets you try out lots of possibilities in a very compressed amount of time. It's almost like you're watching through a spy cam the whole evening, play back, fast forward, and say, oh, yeah, I see those two got together. That's how that happened. So everyone wants to do quantum to bring in this element of problem solving where you try lots of possibilities in a compressed amount of time. Usually it's expensive and it's cumbersome and it's error prone. And that's what Microsoft and Google and IBM are working on, and Honeywell. This company, InfinityQ, has found a way with ordinary chips, analog chips, to try out all of these possibilities by connecting many chips and using what's called analog technology. The details are a bit abstruse, but you can really think about it as let's throw lots of possibilities out there in a rapid amount of time, and they will coalesce into a solution of the ideal arrangement of things.
So, Tiernan, how did all of this come together for them?
So the interesting thing, Karen, is the individuals, Aurélie Elouis and her co-founder, Jean-Michel, had come out of the world of artificial intelligence, which is kind of a hotbed in Montreal. We don't know about that a lot in the States, but Canada had been way ahead in the AI wave. And so the fundamental problem in artificial intelligence, again, is if you have a whole bunch of data to try lots of possibilities to see what is the pattern that you're going to find here. And so this whole notion of speeding up trying possibilities is a parallel to quantum computing. And so these are people who are coming out of fundamental mathematics, fundamental physics problems, and they're seeing a really fascinating overlap in this core problem of how do you try many, many possibilities to a problem and let those possibilities settle into a kind of a groove to show you the solution rather than thinking in advance, I've got it all figured out.
All right, and what's next? What's on the horizon?
The great thing is that because this is a thing they can build already, and it's not kind of just a science project like some of these quantum things, they're already working on problems for which they have projects sort of in a proof of concept stage or in a contract negotiation stage. They're doing it kind of like Amazon AWS, where it's an as a service. So you can file your problem to their computers and they run it for you. Eventually, they plan to sell also on-premise machines that you can use. But for the time being, they're running it as a managed service. And this can be done for a lot of problems that are kind of typical optimization problems. So stock picking, pricing of derivatives, a lot of things that involve, again, many possible solutions. And you want to try them in a rapid manner and find out from trying, what should you price this at? How should this exotic security be traded? What is the right time to implement such and such an approach to selling, or something like drug development, where you've got to have lots of proteins that are going to be tried out with compounds simultaneously, and you're going to see what is the solution. So they're working on practical problems already. They're at least bringing in business to work on practical problems.
And I always love, Tiernan, when we're seeing more women in tech, at the forefront of these companies. It's really great.
Absolutely. Their head of the director of growth for the company is a young woman named Jackie Hudspeth, who by chance, while she was working on an MBA in Montreal at McGill, ran into Aurélie Eloui, the CEO, and they struck up a relationship. And Ms. Hudspeth is also kind of a native entrepreneur. She said she's been kind of caught the entrepreneurial bug at age 18, and she'd already run her own production company. She's been in IT. So it's great to see people at all different kinds of backgrounds who just have a drive to make things coming together in this company that's a little bit of exotic stuff and a little bit of sort of practical business interest.
Sounds like a cool company all around. Tiernan, thank you. For much more on Tiernan's story, make sure you check that out on ZDNet. We appreciate you watching here today.